recording started, and we're gonna kick this thing off. Yes, WebEx went through another update, so thank you guys for being patient with us. It's always one more update on top of running just a little behind today. So thank you guys for your patience. We'll get into our chapter presidents and advisors meeting for February 25th of 2025. If you are able to navigate to the chat room, please go ahead and introduce yourself in your chapter in the chat. That helps us to maintain a list of who's in attendance, but also just a point of reference for questions and things like that. We are recording the meeting. We will be sharing the slides, notes on our Naturalist News page at the end of the day. We did not request for a note taker. But if there is somebody who is willing and able to take notes for us, please jump in the chat and let us know. If we're not able to get a note taker, then it's just one less resource that we have to share on our website after today's meeting. Okay. I'm going to keep rolling. We do have a pretty lengthy presentation today. Not a whole lot of big changes and moves from January's president's meeting. Not a whole lot of new stuff in here as far as our 2025 planning events. You guys know what we're working on right now, but we'll just kind of give you some updates as we go along. So with that, Michelle, you are up to cover where we're at.
Okay, so we had this meeting actually in January, but for those of you who weren't able to join us in January, welcome again. Chapter presidents, we have this meeting on the last Tuesday of every month. I'm already lost my days. And we normally try to keep this to about 1 hour long. We pull where we get your names to attend this meeting is from VMS. And so if you're a chapter that's maybe you received the invitation yesterday, but you're not quite the right person to be here, either an advisor or a president, it's perhaps your VMS needs to be updated. Or if you're attending and you don't see either your chapter president or your chapter advisor here, let us know. And then also check your VMS to make sure that your officers are updated there. So I did pull the list directly from VMS last night for this meeting. So, and again, as another reminder, I said it in the message last night, but the recording, notes, and slides will be posted after the meeting. And if there's nobody that not a volunteer, master naturalist volunteer that wants to take notes, then we may not have notes for the meeting. And then this meeting typically lasts about an hour, so it's about an hour of volunteer service time, which I'll talk about later to give you some specific instructions of how to count this. Sometimes our meetings do go a little over an hour, so typically between an hour and 2 hours is the time that we have for these meetings. Here's the list of the meeting dates again. They were shared in the email yesterday. We're putting in front of you again today. Typically the last Tuesday of the month. In the new year, some of the questions we often get, because there has been a little bit of a changeover at your local chapter level with different officers and presidents and chapter advisors, we like to share this slide about who to contact depending on the issue. And so first and foremost, we've developed our website as our kitchen sink of all things information about the Master Naturalist program. And so we ask that you please try the website first to find answers to different questions that you have. After that, if you have additional questions, myself and Mary Pearl, you can come to with a chapter management issue, discipline action, or an incident report, and any other advanced training policy question. I mean, sorry, advanced training is part of our vernacular. Any other advanced policy question. Hannah would be our go-to person for chapter training resources, TMN brand and logo questions, including review and approval, and then any chapter to state office communication. Our VMS help desk is there. Lots going on and maybe coming up in the next few months with VMS, and our help desk is always there. You can request new accounts and training for new accounts and VMS reports and all sorts of other resources available at our VMS help desk. AgriLife First Call is a contact you have for if your chapter is using the website template that we offer through the state program. AgriLife First Call supports that, and they will be your first call for website issues. And then lastly, Hannah Thornton, one of our program aides for the Master Naturalist program, working on the Pollinators for Texas project. So that's been a big project that has kind of consumed our new year, and we're excited for. And Hannah Thornton would be the contact for the Pollinators of Texas project there, and any questions that arise. Here's our contact information. It's also on the website. Of course, that website being the one-stop shop. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Moving into program planning. We mentioned this at our January meeting. We have this year, we are moving into our triennial review of our TMN governing documents. And a reminder that this is our code of ethics and standards of conduct, our bylaws, our chapter management and operation protocols, and then our chapter operating handbook. So each of those documents and everything within them will be, they are due for a review and potential renewal this year. So, and the way that we're collecting your comments or your feedback for potential review or potential changes is through this form on our state website. So all governing documents feedback needs to be submitted through this form. Our request to you is between now and early April is to review your documents at your chapter, review all these documents at the chapter level, and then any suggestions that you have for or comments, questions for edits would be you'd submit them through that form, the link on the website.
Michelle, there's a relevant question in the chat. Kathy from Cradle of Texas asks, have we gotten many suggestions for changes to these governing documents?
We haven't got a ton. So we've received, I'd say probably
there's some clarifying language
over the past 3 years, which is that's a good thing. So we put a lot of work into the last update, hoping to clarify. We put a lot of work into clarifying a lot of things in the last update. So hopefully it's a good working document, and this we can just clarify even further moving on with this document. Here's the timeline again. This year, 2025, we're in that year 3. We anticipate reviewing the feedback that we received so far, compiling that, and working on new documents, working to update documents in the summer of 2025 this year. Fall, we anticipate having those updates made and sent out, and then those documents wouldn't take effect until January 1, 2026. So those new documents would be governing our 2026 year.
I think that last point is probably the most need for stress with this audience here. We have had a few questions come in. Are we going to have, especially kind of capturing off of your sentiment there, Kathy, these documents, while changing this year, would not be effective in policy or procedure until January of 2026.
Yeah, so the documents that we have currently right now today on our website are the documents we are going to operate under for the remainder of this calendar year. And then, like I mentioned, the new edits or updates to the documents wouldn't go into effect until 2026. More on our brand guide. So one of the things that is also being worked on this year is the Texas Master Naturalist brand guide. Hannah's been working diligently on that since she started. And we expect a update and release of that later this year. And then to also include in the guiding documents, the guidance for citizen science volunteer service hours will be updated as well. And again, the question we received at the last meeting about this is that even that citizen science one, what we have right now, we are still going to be operating under for the remainder of this year. Updated guidance wouldn't go into effect until, again, January 2026.
Yeah, and great question in the chat as well, Michelle. Will there be a Zoom or a WebEx, a virtual meeting for us to go over any new brand guidelines? And actually, that goes to
That's a
Hannah.
Hannah question.
Yes, there will be. We have a current plan for that we're not going to release yet until we have everything set in stone. But yes, we do plan to have a recorded event similar to this where we can go over the brand guide and any of the updates. And the goal of this new brand guide is to make it be the kitchen sink for your branding questions, so that if you have a question on, okay, so how should I word this? What should I do for this? Then you can go to that brand guide and it will have an answer to that question. There will still be the element of sending your merchandise to me to approve use of the logo. So that isn't going to change with this new brand guide, but hopefully this will take care of any of those questions you might have before that final mock-up that you send.
Great.
Real quick, so to Master the team, is somebody recording?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it doesn't show it on my, everything's different today, so it doesn't show that we're recording. So
Yes, ma'am. It looks like it is on mine. Let me know if somebody else doesn't see it.
See it on mine, so I think we should be good.
Speaking of updates, this is going to be a slide that will stay in this slide deck for a while. But we want to be transparent and keep you guys updated. As we've mentioned before, and we'll mention for quite a while longer, our curriculum is due for an update for a second edition. This is a multi-year project. It took us 2.5 years, 3 years, the first round, and we're anticipating the same type of timeline, if not slightly longer, this next go round for our curriculum. Multi-year project. We are in the process of making those updates. Y'all provided some great feedback through our survey that we had at the end of last year, or over the summer last year. Had some great input on some corrections that needed to be made. So we have passed that along to the A&M Press office, and we're continuing to work with them. One update that is available to y'all is we did have a restock of the first edition book. That first edition restock is in the warehouse now. If you need those books for your training class this spring, summer, fall, those are available for ordering now. That link on the QR code or on our website will take you to our curriculum ordering page. Talking about links for ordering our recertifications and milestone pins ordering. Again, this is repetitive from last meeting, but a resource that a lot of chapters transition and need for people to have access to. So we have 2 different ways that you can order your pins depending on the level. So certificates, 250, 500, 1,000, 2,500, friends, and any of the recertification pins. So our Roadrunner this year, those are available on the agrolifelearn.tamu.edu website. Each chapter should have an entitled account. And what an entitled account means, that your account has been marked as able to order those specific items. We don't want the general public to be able to order our pins, so we have those held through those entitled accounts. If you have issues, talk to previous chapter leadership to make sure that you have to check on accessing that entitled account. For pins that are 4,000 hours and above, those go directly to Michelle. Michelle has a form on the website that helps to capture all of the information that's needed. Use that form before you email her, because again, that form asks all the right question and has all the information that she needs for updating those. As of last month, the PVSA pins were on back order. Is that still the case right now, Michelle?
Yes. Yep, they're still in back order.
Those are still on back order, and as soon as we have an update for those, we'll share that in one of these future meetings. As I was talking about the entitled accounts, I forgot that I had a screenshot. You will know once you've logged in if you can find Master Naturalist pins that you have an entitled account. It doesn't look different on the website other than you get to actually see the pins. So log in the top right-hand corner, search for Master Naturalist pins, something along those lines, and you'll see these specific items that are hidden from everybody else except for our designated chapter accounts. Speaking of the Roadrunner, these are available now on the website. So on the AgriLife Learn website, we did have a great February TMN Tuesday covering the Roadrunner. Hannah, I believe that is the link for that recording, is it not? In the chat and then in the top right-hand corner?
In the chat, it'll take you directly to February. The QR code on the page takes you to our TMN Tuesday page, and then you just need to scroll down to find February.
Cool. So those recertification pins are available on our website, on the AgriLife Learn website now. Hannah, I think you're taking over from here.
Okay. Just a reminder for our TMN Tuesdays, they're the second Tuesday of every month at 12, unless otherwise noted. Obviously, April will be our virtual volunteer fair event, so that'll be a little bit longer. They're also usually about an hour, unless it's otherwise noted. Again, April will be a little bit different. The speakers and topics will be announced monthly, so the March one will be announced pretty soon. Recordings are always available on the website after the event, sometimes day of, sometimes that week, depending on what kind of a week it is here at the state office, but it will be on our website after the event. And October is still TBA because that will be a live from the annual meeting TMN Tuesday. And so that'll depend on who we decide to feature for our TMN Tuesday event from the annual meeting, but that will be a fun event that we're doing.
But we know that it won't be Tuesday.
It won't be Tuesday. TMN Thursday or whatever it might be. These are just some commonly frequently asked questions that you might have or that some of your chapter members might have. So then now you have the answers for them. If they come to you with those questions, only the 2025 TMN Tuesdays are available for AT hours. Anything from 2024 is still available to watch. If you scroll down to the very bottom of the TMN Tuesday page, you can see calendars from past years. So if you ever wanted to reference one of those or just watch it again for fun, you always can. But those don't count for advanced training anymore. It's only the current calendar year's events that count for advanced training. And you don't have to be a master naturalist to attend. They are open to the public. So if you see a topic come up that you know a friend would be very interested in and they're not a master naturalist, feel free to send them the link because they are more than welcome. As we mentioned earlier, they'll all be recorded and added to our website later. You do need to register for these events in order to get the reminder emails, and you can do that on our TMN Tuesday page. You see a big register now button at the top of the page, and you can register for every single one in one get-go using that link. And then again, they are usually about an hour for AT, and then that last bullet shows you kind of all the details on how to log it for advanced training and when and how you can do that.
So there was a question in the chat, but it did get answered. But I'm going to say it out loud for the sake of the recording. Who is the speaker for the March TMN Tuesday? We are dotting our T's and crossing our I's and almost have that final speaker confirmation. So as soon as we have that, we'll make that publicly available to you through the listserv, through our social media, and our website.
Just so y'all know the schedule for that too, we announce the speaker 2 weeks in advance of the event. So you'll see those announced 2 weeks prior, a reminder a week prior, and then a reminder the day before. So you know, if you again have people from your chapter asking, well, hey, when are they going to say who the next speaker is? 2 weeks in advance is when we announce that typically. For TMN Tuesday topics, as we're talking about speakers, is there someone that came to your chapter that you want to hear again? Is there someone that was at the last annual meeting that you want to hear again? If you have any topics that you're interested in, feel free to shoot us all an email and let us know who you would be interested in speaking or a certain topic you'd be interested in hearing about. We'll take that into consideration as we continue to plan the year.
Yeah. And keep in mind the statewide perspective that the topic needs to cover also.
Mhm.
And another thing that we are doing on our website is collecting all of your training information to house in one spot on the website for any of the volunteer training that y'all are hosting this year. So you can find that. There's a quick access button on the home page. You can also, if you scroll down a little ways in Naturals News, find it. But obviously the button on the home page will be the fastest route. If you want to go ahead and switch to the next slide. These are all the chapters that we currently have listed on this page. And if you have already started your training and you don't see your name, go ahead and still fill out the survey to house it on the website, because if someone is interested in joining your chapter, they'll see that, okay, I missed this training deadline, but I'll keep an eye out for the next one that comes up, because that information will still be good for them to have, whether the training has already started and they can't join this current class or not. To give them an idea of when the next one might be starting and when to keep an eye out for that application. So don't let it stop you. If you've already started your training, go ahead and submit it. And if you're one of the chapters that hosts 2 trainings, go ahead and submit your second one later in the year, so then we can add that to the website as well. And again, people just have that information in kind of a one-stop shop. And just a reminder, we have a lot of chapters celebrating chapter anniversaries this year. So for a 10th anniversary, we have South Texas Border Chapter, 15th anniversary, Central Texas, Goodwater, Indian Trail, and Pineywood Lakes chapters. 20th anniversary, Brazos Valley, Gideon Lincecum, Heartwood, Red River, Rio Brazos, and Tierra Grande chapters. And then 25th anniversaries, East Texas, Lindheimer, Lost Pines, and Midcoast chapters. So if you are having a chapter anniversary, tell us about some of the things that you are doing, what some of your plans are. If you are wanting to talk to someone who had an anniversary last year, just let us know any information that you might need, but let us know what you're doing, because anniversaries are always so exciting.
We also do have the 20th anniversary backdrop that's available for one of those 20th anniversary chapters. So if you have an upcoming event that you need, that you want to have a step and repeat or a backdrop for, reach out to us and we can coordinate getting it from the chapter that is currently holding it to your chapter.
Just a reminder. Oh,
So there's a question about the chapter training in the chat. So Cheryl asks about when do you expect to see dates of fall basic training class reported? And Cheryl, whenever you know that information, it can be added to the website. So the main thing with that website is to have the information available so people that are coming to our Master Naturalist page know when the next training is, because that's the number one question we get is, when is the next training and how can I apply? So if you know that information, even if you're having a spring training now, let's provide as much information to our visitors as we can.
all of the last line on that page for each chapter section is a link to your chapter website. So this is just to catch people who might have come to our website first, hit that instead of going to the chapter map first, and then it directs them to your website from there. So it's just another way to get people who come to our website looking for what their chapter might be and when their training might be, to get them from a different direction. Back to pollinators for Texas. As y'all know, we started this new initiative with HEB. We recently announced our 2024-2025 awardee chapters. You can see the whole list there. On the next page, we have a QR code that takes you to the page on our website where we announce those awardees, and it has short explanations of the projects that they are doing with the Pollinators for Texas initiative. We also still have that resource page up on our website. So if you wanted to learn more about the program or the project and what all it entails, you can go check that out as well. And then just a reminder that the point of contact for this project is Hannah Thornton, not Hannah Ferguson, Hannah Thornton. But if you do send it to this Hannah, it does get to that Hannah eventually. I just forward her everything that's Pollinators for Texas related. But if you want to get her at a direct link, you can use that Pollinators for Texas email that you see on the screen there. And just a reminder that we do expect this project to continue, which is super exciting, but we're still planning out all those details. So nothing to tell you at this time, but get excited.
And more resources will be coming with an announcement as well.
Yes.
You're still rolling, Hannah.
I know. April is a very busy month for us, as I'm sure you all know. It is National Volunteer Month. We will have our virtual volunteer fair for our TMN Tuesday. There's National Volunteer Week as well. Earth Day falls in April. City Nature Challenge falls in April. We've got a lot going on. So let us know what your chapter plans are, how you plan to celebrate National Volunteer Month, and also keep an eye out for different resources that we will be providing to y'all, similar to how we did last year, a little Facebook frame, some different socials that you can plug and play with for your chapter socials, things like that coming soon as we celebrate National Volunteer Month. Speaking of virtual volunteer fair, save the date for April 8th. That is our April TMN Tuesday. The time frame for that will come out once we have closed project applications and kind of set a schedule with those. So the time is TBD. It'll be announced on socials and on the listserv when we have it set in stone. And if anyone's asking you, I've had a couple questions come in about this as well. At the event is when the volunteer sign up will be released. So they can either attend live or watch the recording, but at the event is when you can actually sign up for these different projects. How you can help at this time is, as you can see with that big green square there, we have just extended the deadline for proposals to March 4th. So if you know someone who was thinking about submitting one, but then decided they'd be a little too rushed to do it by today, today was the original deadline, let them know that it's been extended if they didn't see that email or that social post go out today. And they have a little bit more time to get that in. And then once we get all of those collected, again, set that time for the event. So if you know someone who is interested in submitting a project, let them know they have a little extra time.
As a historical point of reference for some of our newer chapter members or newer chapter leaders, our virtual volunteer fair has never been more than about 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's kind of the framework for time that I would hold on your calendar if you're interested in attending. But it'll be skinnier than that within that time frame, but shorter, I imagine, based off of how many projects we receive. Am I
And
doing this?
another save the date. Oh yeah, this is you.
No, you can do it.
Oh, we're still going. Another save the date we have is the annual meeting. I like to say arguably the best weekend of the year. You can find the page where all of the updates will be once we have them using that QR code. It's also one of the main tabs at the top of our website. The call for proposals will be coming very soon, so keep an eye out on socials and the email listserv for that information coming out. And then also just in the meantime, make sure you mark those dates on your calendar, October 16th through 19th of this year. College Station is the location. And as mentioned, more information will be coming as we have it. And spelled backwards is still Hannah, yes.
All right. And then Michelle, you're going to tell us where to find all the things.
Moving into chapter resources, I already mentioned the website as our one-stop shop for all the information. Naturalist News, our events calendar, the state, you can find out how to get on the state email listserv or get yourself off. Other quick links on the website is our VMS help desk and their chapter documents page. So everything that we talked about already in this presentation is all on our website. Last month, we talked about some chapter templates and resources that have been updated for the new year. An updated password protected, the password for the password protected page in the Canva templates has been sent out to your chapters. If you're a chapter that you don't think you received that, reach out to us, probably Hannah, and we can help you out with that. New templates are added as needed. And Hannah, you haven't added anything in the past month, right? Like
in the last month, yeah. And then one thing to note for this pay or the password aspect of it, it's just so it's not open to the general public. If you want to share this with your whoever does your social media, whoever does your flyers, people in your chapter who might need access to these resources, whoever gives presentations often, you are welcome to share that password with them. It will change yearly, so it will need to be shared yearly, but it's just designed to stay within chapter leadership. So I wouldn't really recommend sharing it with your chapter as a whole, but kind of on an as needed basis.
Okay, and reminders that we are going to cover again this month about to our membership. So if you can help help members within your local chapter help relay this information again, using the Texas Master Naturalist title. Again, the title, your chapter name, your program and chapter membership should never be used in connection with advocacy or to invoke policy. The TMN title and certification should never be used for personal gain or profit. Remember that the Master Naturalist logo and title are trademarks. Chapters and members through their chapters must seek state office approval when adding them to anything. Public comment should only be made as a private citizen. Your Master Naturalist title should never be associated with your personal public comments. And you can review the guidelines here. The other thing I want to caution is sometimes I've seen chapters share advocacy information in their newsletters. And so you need to present that carefully. You should, even within our own membership, you should take the educational approach, present all the facts, and let even your members make educated decisions about the issue at hand. So you should never advocate one way or the other, even within your own membership. And
Good.
next one, yeah. Again, coming back to the Master Naturalist logo, any use of the Master Naturalist logo on printed materials and merchandise, etc., need to be approved by our state office. Hannah is our go-to person for that. We strive to have cohesive branding across all chapters. It is imperative to maintain the integrity and recognition of our program and the trademark, including our brand and mission. Chapter logos, your own or chapter developed logos are prohibited. There are chapter marks that are allowed, and if you have questions about that, Hannah is your go-to person for that. And then if you are a chapter that hasn't yet had a chapter logo or a chapter mark, even I'm getting the two crossed in my speaking today. If you're a chapter that hasn't had a chapter mark created yet, reach out to Hannah and she can help you with that.
Perfect. And Tina, your question in the chat is perfectly timed for this next slide. Our TMN WordPress Tuesdays are continuing into 2025. I sent out the one link that will be used for all of the year to chapter webmasters and presidents, asking y'all to bookmark that page or that bookmark that email for that link. They will be the first Tuesdays of the month. There was a little bit of confusion last month on which link to use. It's the long one that I sent to you in the email. Just use the one on the email. So please use that, and Dagna will continue to use that format for those WordPress trainings. If you are having additional WordPress issues with your website, you need to submit a ticket to First Call. First Call tracks those and assigns them to the appropriate person within the IT team. So yes, for website and plugin issues, that's a First Call ticket.
Can we go back to the chapter logos and marks slide for a second? There are a couple of questions in the chat about what is a chapter mark. And so the images you see on the bottom are chapter marks. So it's our logo, our statewide logo with your chapter information, chapter name as appeared. So if your chapter does not yet have a mark created in one of these options, let us know or let Hannah know.
Whereas a chapter logo, defining chapter logo is a locally developed design that doesn't match our master naturalist protocols and misrepresents the association to the Texas Master Naturalist Program. Okay, I'll keep going.
Yep. Another reminder, WebEx accounts, we still have those. We have 3 accounts for regional accounts. Using this map, region 1 and 3 share account 3, region 2 and 5 share account 5, and then region 4 and 6 share account 6. All of our other state meetings are held on our Texas Master Naturalist state account, which is what we're meeting on today. If your chapter if you're still struggling with WebEx, you don't have the login information and you do want to use it, reach out to us and we can share that with you. And a couple of VMS updates for you today. A lot of the information on here is the same as what we've been sharing with you. Some updates. Since we opened up the VMS trainings back up again at the beginning of the year, there have been 39 trainings held so far for several chapters. If you are a chapter that needs new logins for some admins that are going to assist at your local level, submit a help desk ticket at the VMS help desk, and our training team can help with getting you trained in order to obtain the new logins. We anticipate we have noticed some things. The company is getting ready to consolidate. They have consolidated us. They are getting ready to move us into the big main account, our Master Naturalist stuff into the big main account. So you may have seen, if you're a chapter administrator, when you log in with your administrative role, you may have seen things look different on the administrative back end from time to time. Those things typically get fixed pretty quickly or within a day's time, but it hasn't impacted our database yet. So we have had some QA, QC take place over the past month. Our administrative team at the state level, our VMS administrative team at the state level has met. We've done some testing on some roles in a QA environment, and there's some things they're fixing on that now. And so we anticipate additional QA, QC to take place over the next several weeks. But take home point for our chapters is really nothing on your end. The reporting as a master naturalist, reporting your hours, nothing has changed yet. And even for our admins, no processes have changed yet. So,
Michelle, define QA/QC.
So QA/QC is a testing environment. So it's a copy. It's a copy of the database that they've made with some test data in it. Quality assurance, quality control. So it's an instance of the database, the VMS database that we're testing things in, testing what they've built and testing what they've changed before we actually go to a newer version.
That's what we get for using too many acronyms.
Okay, we ask that at your chapter level, if you could help improve our reporting, and even your chapter's reporting at the local level. When there are times that your chapter members are attending a chapter meeting, attending a chapter led advanced training event, and even some service projects. If you could help members, give members some additional information on how to report for that day. One example is for your time here today on this meeting, for attending and viewing today's meeting, you as chapter leaders can report your time to the chapter business opportunity. And then your project category there would be chapter and program business administration president's duties. And then specifically for today, either attending the meeting live or watching the recording later, you would log it as the February Presidents and Advisors meeting with the state office. So any additional information you can provide on big, large chapter projects and large chapter events like a chapter meeting, a chapter advanced training, and any large service projects, any reporting information that you can provide to your membership attending those events to report later is much appreciated. Another request for this would be for your training classes, and this is really a request that we'll be sending out to our VMS admins at the local chapter level. But really, there are a few other leaders within the chapter that need to be aware of this too. So we ask that all volunteers, so any new volunteer going through initial training class, log chapter initial training classes, individual classes should be logged as once they've been completed in VMS. And so there's a couple different processes, different chapters use to do this. But the take home point with this is that we ask that every trainee has the list of initial training classes that they have attended logged in VMS. This is a great way for them to get familiar with VMS reporting, even if they do it themselves. I know some of the chapter processes at the local chapter level is that the initial training class director or that team will help with logging that information. The main point is that that information does get logged. It helps with when we have transfers of one person from one chapter to another. It helps to know what training classes they have completed, and what may be different from what training items may be different from one chapter to another, to know what that person needs to brush up on. And then the other thing that needs to take place is once a trainee has completed all of their initial training classes, that needs to be identified in VMS as well.
And Michelle, you said additional information, or that this information is going to be sent out to VMS directors as well.
Yes. Okay, this time of year, again, new year, new stuff, and you probably saw the news even earlier this week about different text scams coming, one going on right now about toll roads to pay your toll. So it's happening
on that.
Every organization. Just remember that with the changeover of officers in chapter leadership within the new year, this is when we kind of see these phishing and scam issues pop up. They often can be a gift card scam, bank account access, I needed a favor, people spoofed emails and spoofed names would be contacting you through email or text messages. And I think the take home point though here is just try and do business, especially when it comes to financial business for your chapter. Try to do that in chapter meetings, face to face or through phone calls directly with the people involved. Don't fall for a text scam. We have heard of chapters falling or almost falling for these scams in the past, and so we just be diligent, stay on top of things, and try to do business in person or by phone call.
Wrapping up a few more points before we end today's meeting and open for discussion. Some resources to share. Our AgriLife Learn store will be making a restock here, hopefully in early March. So I'll be announcing that one by the listserv and in this meeting format as soon as we have some new items in the store. We also have our license plate on our website. It is front and center on the page. But if you are getting a new vehicle in 2025, what a great way to update your new vehicle with a new license plate, and get that either non-personalized or personalized. Those links and those QR codes lead you to the DMV's website where you can get those there. I don't have Q4 numbers for 2024 yet. I actually will be requesting those on Saturday. Is March 1st is my timeline to get those requested because everything runs a month behind. So as soon as I have the Q4 report, I will share that with you guys in this meeting format next month. Hopefully we have passed the 800 mark. We'll see. Here's some great bumpers. And then our Master Naturalist Endowment is still that snowball rolling down the hill. It's, as it says here, started in 2016, and our account currently sits at about 175,000. Thank you to every individual or chapter who has made gifts and donations in memoriams, in our honorariums for past chapter members or chapter leaders to the endowment. We appreciate that, and thank you for that planned giving as well. If you have additional questions about the endowment, feel free to reach out to me, or follow that masternaturalistendowment.org website where we have lots more information. Okay, Michelle, we've got some discussion questions. And for the sake of the recording, I'm going to go ahead and stop it just so we've got some extra time to discuss.